All right. Today on the Shrewd Dudes podcast, we are going to talk about a few different things. In This Week in Satire, we're going to address how apparently being against crime is now added to lists of things that are racist. This actually probably isn't even satire these days, which is sad, but we're still going to laugh about it as much as possible. The Rants of the Week is also relatable. It's also related to Jason Aldean. And apparently, calling out rioting and looting is now advocating for lynching. In the Shrewd Check, something we have not done in a very long time, we're going to address a video from Timcast IRL and the Pop Culture Podcast. And we'll kind of debunk and address some issues that a drag queen had about defending reading for children. And then finally, in our weekly exposure, we're going to expose, I think this is probably our fourth time either being in weekly exposure or douche of the week of Justin Trudeau, because the guy is just the worst.
Unlimited material, really.
Yep. And the weekly highlight is MTG, because what she did in Congress was just really, really funny. All of that and more on the Shrewd Dudes podcast. Nope. Wrong one. There we go. And apparently we are live on Kick.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. So we are once again back for our Thursday live stream, which is no longer special. It used to be special because we used to only live stream on Thursdays, but now we stream every Tuesday and Thursday on Twitch, and today we're on Kick the first time. So I somehow figured out the problem with why we weren't streaming on Kick, but I fixed it, so we're all good now.
Wait, what's the channel called on Kick?
So we're all good now. And I think it's just called Shrewd Dudes Cast on Kick. I'm going to double check. Yep, Shrewd Dudes Cast on Kick. So this is very new for us. We're very excited to be on Kick. So that's very cool.
Crazy.
Anyways, so if you have any questions, if you have any concerns or any comments, then let us know. Yes?
Quick note. Yeah, but echo. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
I have an echo. Okay.
Unless... Hold on. I'm going to check something. Nope, it's on my end.
Okay.
I just figured it out.
All right.
It was the Kick live stream was not...
I am your first follower. Love me.
Yay!
Yeah, no, we hate you. Go die.
Yeah. You get the autograph that gets you $1,000.
$1,000
when we're super popular and famous.
Meaningless. As in the wind. So of course we're going to be addressing all commentary, all chat. So just to let you know, of course, chatting more, commenting more boosts the algorithm. So just keep throwing that stuff in there, and we want to have a whole bunch of chats about a whole bunch of different things. We want to have as varied opinions as possible, even if that means having some crazy communists or
bring on the commies.
Bring on the commie bastards.
We're not gonna get the Red Scare.
Yeah. So, but Danny, has anything interesting happened the past couple days before we jump into the stories?
I made $1,000 today. That was awesome.
That is nice.
Yeah, just on one job. I had sometimes we get like these private customers, and you basically get paid like directly. And so I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I basically have my entire rent payment, and I bought myself a brand new Lenovo, well, not brand new, but like very fancy Lenovo, like 32-inch like
nice
monitor.
monitor.
So I'm pretty happy about this.
Mhm.
It is the quality on this thing is sick, man. It is sick.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy. What about you, man?
I
You always have such bountiful tales.
Do I have some bountiful tales? Do I have bountiful tales from the past couple days?
Like, if Steven was a live version of a D&D character, he would be the bard. He would sing.
The funny thing is that my bard that I played recently was like exceptionally boring outside of combat.
Oh, so you're a live version of a bard. Okay, good to know.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that is a nice little comment and a nice little point about getting subs and movements on Kick, is if we get stuff and commentary on Kick, then we can, of course, get more of our money from it if we get donations.
Cool.
So,
Nice.
I don't think we've ever got a donation. Aside from when Conqueror gave you that microphone, that's our one donation.
Actually,
both of our, that's funny because both of our microphones we got for free.
That's
unintentionally.
True. You got it from your father.
Yeah, because he gave me mine, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool.
I'll take it.
I'll take it." And then he just never ended up using it. It was hilarious.
Thank you for your donation.
Yes, thank you for your donation. But we should move on to. Yeah, I don't have any really interesting stories. There was nothing exceptionally funny that I know. Usually, I'm filled with entertaining stories from work. But this past couple days have been fairly bland.
The opening section is like 15 minutes, like, of Steven telling us about his crazy adventure. So,
well, yeah. Well, my one Filipino coworker has decided to be nice. And so I'm like, what's wrong with you? You've decided to be nice today? But let's jump in. And let's talk about some kind of, as Danny likes to suggest, to fill us with some levity before we jump into the serious stories of the day. So the first story is from Not the Bee.
Not the Bee?
Not the Bee indeed. Ilhan Omar is getting roasted for this absolutely idiotic, unintentionally hilarious tweet. So Ilhan Omar is being destroyed online after she tweeted this gem. The Earth just broke the record for the hottest day in 120,000 years. In fact,
Witch of Endor?
I don't know. Ilhan Omar's voice is so whiny and kind of grating that I just figured I'd be like
the Wicked Witch of the West, almost.
Something like that. Yes. In fact, we broke it on 3 separate days. National climate emergency now. A climate emergency indeed. I'm so glad Ilhan brought this fact to our attention. Who would have known the Earth broke a record for the hottest day in 120,000 years? No one. That's probably because she is full of it.
She's
Yes.
She's
so
she's basically like that. What was that? South Park episode where they're talking about the Mormons. It's like dum 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 dum.
Yeah, apparently campus is filled with Mormons because they're trying to convert people in res.
Oh, really?
And so we just see them walking around campus all day.
Huh.
And so from Utah Senate candidate Trent Staggs, is this satire? Nope. Ilhan was dead serious when she wrote this tweet, and I bet she actually believed her nonsense. What was the temperature of the globe at 12 p.m. GMT on July 1st? 116,539 year BC? Former White House advisor Stephen Miller added. Great question. Nobody knows. Now check out some of the other great replies. Let the roasting begin.
Mm-hmm.
Oldest progressive play in the book. All socialism starts out with an emergency.
Does that video play? This is just
it's just a GIF.
Yeah, just emergency.
Matt Walsh, if you believe that we have precisely daily temperature records dating back 120,000 years, then this claim may seem credible, but you are approximately smarter than a sea sponge. Then you know this hysterical BS. If you are approximately smarter than a sea sponge. Rob Schmidt, you are the most obnoxious person on the globe for the last 500 million years.
Prove me wrong.
Yeah, Kevin Delton, I too remember reading about the Caveman Fahrenheit first recording. The Caveman Fahrenheit. Yes, the one who invented the Fahrenheit system in the caveman days. When I was in middle school. If not me, who?
Twitter
I'm just the messenger. It's a hot one today.
That's awesome. That is actually really good. That's really amazing.
Yeah, but the truth is, we were not able to continuously measure temperature before the 1880s. Before that, there's hardly any data to make hypotheses like that. But keep postulating. We could go on. We could go on and on and on about this because they're great.
Thermometers, like, when were thermometers actually like invented?
When were thermometers invented?
Yeah, because that was an invention. That they didn't have that. Like,
I don't know. Chat, you look it up.
I will look it up. I will look it up.
No, get the chat to do it. We have to. Come on, wacha.
It's a race. It's a race. Let's see if Danny can find it first.
But then you have an advantage because you have like a 3 second head start on our guests.
Well, they better get their butts in gear then.
Yeah. So, anyways, while you do that, I'm going to switch over to the next story, and then hopefully we'll have some people commenting before Danny finds it. Come on, people, you got to be Danny.
Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen. It better happen. Otherwise, there will be some punishments for failure.
You're more invested, I think, than most people.
I try to be.
Apparently,
I gotta have the
1893 Galileo invented a rudimentary water thermoscope.
and apparently Conquer Room's occupied, so you lucked out there.
He's busy.
Yep, he's busy, so we gotta beat Danny.
1714.
1714.
Yep.
All right.
Like I said, it is literally impossible to measure temperature before that date, before 1714, because they did not have the ability to measure temperature like they do today. So,
yes.
Take that, Ilhan Omar. Yeah,
take that, Ilhan Omar. Yeah. Anyways.
It's very simple, like Google search.
Takes a very simple Google search. But other things that take very simple Google searches. Hilarious. Obama's brother tweets he's definitely gay after former president defends school porn books. Books with kids, dudes apparently shaped Obama's life. So he came out in favor of school porn books on Kids Monday, prompting his own brother to tweet, "This man is definitely gay." Obama sent out the letter claiming the books that shaped my life under threat from being banned in schools, and librarians are on the front lines fighting every day to make the widest range of viewpoints, opinions, and ideas available to everyone. He continued, "It's no coincidence these banned books are often written by people of color, indigenous, or members of the LGBTQ+. So this is his statement.
It's true. It is no coincidence.
Oh, yes, no coincidence. No coincidence.
They are the groomers. They're the people.
The groomers.
They're the ones that are trying to sexualize the children.
Yeah.
So, what a surprise.
So, yeah, what a surprise. What a surprise indeed. Alrighty.
I'm like Fry.
So from his estranged brother, this man is definitely gay. The pair used to be closer, with Malik reporting to be the best man at Barack Obama's wedding and visiting the White House several times during his time in the office. However, things turned sour when Obama's brother accused of becoming cold and ruthless, seeking to be worshipped and turning his back on his Kenyan family. He got rich and became a snob. At least, as we have relentlessly documented, no one is demanding the books be banned. Parents are asking the books to be that contain porn and even pedophilia imagery and themes to be removed from schools, which is, of course, a good thing.
That's a very good thing.
So, don't want to do that. Oh, didn't turn off the intro, and I apologize for that.
It also shows that, look, it's amazing when people out themselves.
Oh, yes.
As groomers. It's like, hey, we should definitely show pornography in schools. Just like, now you have to look really close. Because, you cannot defend this. You can't. You cannot actually make a reasonable defense of this, because what you're advocating for is no different than advocating for, what was it, Stephen? Like, was it manga? We talked about this before.
Oh.
Like animated porn. Like hentai. Thank you. Hentai. This is basically American hentai. That's what it is, because hentai is a very specific kind of porn from Japan that's like mostly animated. So this is American hentai. So people try to say it's not pornography. Well, how do you know it's not pornography? Because it's a cartoon version of that's basically pornography still, because whether it's in drawn form or in like live action form, it's still pornography. And reenacting like sexual acts in a cartoonish form doesn't make them any less pornography. It's amazing to me, these people, and that they're disingenuous, attempts to try to make it like, oh, it's all about censorship. You're supposed to be against censorship, not when it's about kids.
Yeah,
I don't want kids. If you hire a babysitter and that babysitter spends the night showing your children a whole bunch of X-rated movies, that person is not only going to get a massive beatdown by you, but they're probably also going to get charged for showing pornography to an underage child. But if you're a librarian showing them pornography in a school library, totally fine. No problem here, nothing to see here. It's all good. It's crazy. So Obama, by the way, this also fits nicely with that theory about Michelle Obama being having a couple extra coconuts, downstairs.
A couple extra coconuts.
So I think that would fit nicely. Anyways,
yep, something we all are confused about.
That would round it out.
Extra coconuts.
Well. That's right.
All right. So let's do This Week in Satire.
Do it.
And have a little fun with this. Oh. All right. So, from the Babylon Bee. Being against crime added to list of things that are racist. So, country star Jason Aldean released a controversial single this month called Try That in a Small Town, in which he laid out his belief that crime is bad. He has since been forcibly condemned by the music industry, since being against crime is now considered a racist dog whistle. All right, this is from CMT President Brian Phillips. So this is country music, so it's got to have a drawl. I was shocked and saddened by the blatant racism in Aldean's song that condemned violent crime.
Nicely done.
Said CMT President Brian Phillips. Crime is a beloved and noble tradition of BIPOC communities, and to condemn it is to condemn our own black brothers and sisters. I am so sorry we allowed it to be aired. Aldean defended himself from the criticism on his Instagram page, saying, "What on earth does that have to do with race? I never mentioned race. You guys did. You guys are racist. What's wrong with you people?" Oh, you people. Unfortunately, no one read his statement, as Instagram soon removed the post. Industry experts joined in denouncing Aldean. This is from Universal Music Group CEO Cindy Mabe. Most of us secretly agree with him, but it's not cool to say that. So please don't tell anyone I say that. Hey, stop writing that down. At publishing time, a group of heavily armed Antifa troops were seen outside Aldean's home to teach him a valuable lesson about being against crime. Yep. Because that's a lesson that needs to be taught in today's society. Yes. Being against crime is racist.
Super racist.
Yep. So from a quick comment from Patriot Concierge, the more they cry over it, the more people hear about it. Listen to it. Yep, that's 100% the case.
I mean, I'm hoping it gets the Barbara Streisand effect.
Mm-hmm.
By pointing it out, it'll actually become more popular.
Well, yeah, because it's sort of like the word of mouth was the primary kind of sharing factor with sharing Sound of Freedom. But the fact that the mainstream media were attacking it also impacted its shareability and its range. Because if they're attacking it as this QAnon kind of fever pitch and fever dream, then conservatives know that, you're hitting in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
So, good for them, and good for Jason Aldean. I wish we could play the song, but on Twitch, I don't know the standards for Kick as far as copyright infringement, but I do know that if you do play something on Twitch that goes against their copyright rules, that
super notorious.
Yeah, very likely to get a serious ban, maybe even lasting a month. So, not willing to push that today. Just saying. Not willing to do it. Not going to do it. Yeah, see, you on Kick. It's crazy that you know that. Yeah, no, I did not know the difference between the other stuff. I was like, what the frick is that?
Like Eki and hentai. I'm like, okay, good to know. Good to know. I will
good
follow
to
that
know,
in part
yeah.
of my brain that I will hopefully never have to use.
Things I never want to be able to use.
Yeah, it's nice because Kick was basically Their call to like what made them attractive to people is that they're not going to censor, which I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I'm happy about that. Any technology, any platform that's going to be much more open free speech, I'm all for it. Bring it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely want to bring it.
Mm-hmm. So let's actually talk about that with the rant of the week, man. Jason Aldean.
Alrighty, so continuing on with that vein.
That vein.
Good morning, but it doesn't feel... Okay, yeah.
Vein in the forehead?
Vein in the forehead. Well, it bulges sometimes.
In the left forehead.
Alright, so, the rants of the week. And I need to play the rant video.
Red alert.
I was going to say...
Alright, so, from Jason Aldean, from Global News. Music video taken down amid pro-lynching accusations. So, country star Jason Aldean is facing a massive wave of backlash against his song Tribe That a Small Town over accusations over its lyrics and newly released music video encouraging vigilantism and racial violence. Ooh. So CMT pulled the music video off the air amid the uproar. The video was released on Friday and had been playing on the broadcaster's rotation through the weekend before it was removed on Monday, according to Billboard. CMT declined to comment on the reason, but controversy over Try That in a Small Town had been brewing since the song was released in May. The backlash reached new heights after Aldean shot the music video for the song in front of the Maury County Courthouse in Columbia, Tennessee. The courthouse was the site of a 1927 lynching of this one man who was dragged behind a car before he was hanged in a second-story window. Yes, because that's totally relevant that it was a site for a lynching. How long ago? 96 years!
They have to do some serious It's like...
Oh, their homework would have had to be absolutely obscene.
They have to put a ton of homework just to be able to find that out. Like, it is not... not exactly a thing that everybody would just know. Be like, oh yeah, that's the place where that lynching happened, isn't it? It's like, no, you basically have to look that up hard, super hard, yeah. Huh? Can you actually look up the lyrics of the song? Because I know we can't play it, but can you
look up the lyrics. Okay, let's look up the lyrics.
We can do.
So try that in a what? What's going on? Something is very weird about my keyboard. I can't.
Having some issues, sir?
I can't type for some reason. I cannot type.
You can't type?
No.
It's kind of strange.
What the heck? Okay, hold on.
No.
Can I type elsewhere?
Technical difficulties, people.
No.
That is strange. So while Steven's figuring that out, so the Jason Aldean situation, we've talked about this before. Like, one of the things I find when it comes to this kind of stuff is you have to remember this is completely manufactured outrage. This is not real outrage. This is not, people are not actually outraged about this. This is basically a modern version of Maoist struggle sessions. Okay, that's what it is. Because I was watching Matt talking about this afternoon, and he pointed out very, very well that there's an insane amount of hypocrisy in saying that this is wrong, but never having to say about all the rap songs out there. So like the Jason Aldean song is a song about how people in a small town defend their own. Like this is actually a good thing. And the idea is that people in big major cities where most of the cultural elite want to push all people to go, people in there become numb to what's going around them, and nobody cares about their neighbor. Nobody cares about what happens to your next door neighbor, the person down the street, or something like that. Whereas in a small town, everybody does. Everybody cares about what happens to the person around you. You see somebody literally going into your neighbor's house, you call the police. Whereas in big cities, you don't do that. So the song is basically about a community that cares about each other and will basically
I'm going to be right back. I'm just gonna grab another set of batteries.
Crazy. Oh, your battery on that thing's done?
I think for some reason I didn't get a warning about it though. So it just suddenly died. So I'm gonna swap them out with another set that I have. So I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay, good to know. I don't know if I can talk for a whole 2 minutes. That will be something special. I'm just kidding. That's kind of like my bread and butter. All right, so let's go through some of the lyrics here. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show them on the screen because Steve is the one that does that. But I'm gonna be able to go through them with you. So let's go. Okay, so lyrics. Okay, so when it comes to the Jason Aldean song, try that in a small town. Here's some of the lyrics that just for an example of the song itself and the things that they call horrible, horrible, they say it's about lynching, it's about hurting people. I'm like, okay, let's go through what kind of things they say. All right, so this is from the Jason Aldean song "Try That in a Small Town." Sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk, carjack an old lady at a red light, not good. Pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool? Well, act the fool if you like. Cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough? Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Round here, we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't try that in a small town. And of course, there's one more line here, says, got a gun that my granddad gave me. They said that one day they're going to round up. Well, that, crap might fly in the city. Good luck. In other words, what that second lyric is talking. He's talking about the idea that I got a gun that my grandfather passed down to me, and the threat is the government's going to basically come in and either round them up or round up the guns. It's well, that stuff may fly in big cities, but not here. We're going to basically protect our guns, our people, and our families. Right now, compare that to I just looked it up on Billboard top rap songs, and this is what Mad Walsh did, but I'm just going to repeating his steps. The 15 best hip hop songs of 2022. By the way, I'm looking at some of these video, just the posters, and they're bad. About the most popular rap song of 2022 was a song called Glorilla and Hit Kid FNF Let's Go. Right? And this is again a rap song that's been glorified and considered to be one of the top songs of last year. So let's look at some of these lyrics, and I do warn you, I'm not going to be able to read a lot of them because they are absolutely filthy and full of profanities and full of words that I'm not allowed to say, but I'll probably get canceled instantly if I did. So Big Lado JT, Biolch, F and N-word free, broke N-word free,
free N-word
N-word
free
with your ding dong, not me on gang. FREEF N-word free FM. That mean I ain't gonna worry, but about no F N-word cheating. It's just profanity everywhere. Okay, so here's the actual verse. Okay. You can catch me out in traffic, tinted, sliding with your hoe. In other words, with your prostitute. I ain't popping out at parties. Gonna book me for a show. Give me that. He say, y'all be living fast, not,
just the things. Yeah. I'd say just stop because you're not going to be able to continue.
It's crazy, but he's talking about going up and looking for trouble, looking for people to fight, and basically saying that I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to blow your brains out. It's incredible. They're talking about
just lovely people,
hurting people. This is all about hurting people, and and damaging. So this song, no problem. Nobody has a problem with it. And by the way, gangster rap and all kind of rap songs that are still super popular right now with like modern kids, these songs are glorifying prostitution. They're glorifying hurting innocent people. They're glorifying slapping and beating your prostitute, basically. Like it's insane, the kind of things. But we're not allowed to, in any possible way, to criticize these people. These people are totally fine. But you have to criticize Jason Aldean. Why? Because he basically is going against what is sacred. Remember, in Marxist thought, which is what all of these movements are, they're basically modern day cultural coups. It's a cultural war that they're fighting. And in their view, there's things that there's certain groups that are like off limits because they're sacred. Black people are sacred. They can't be touched. And what they say cannot be scrutinized or criticized, or else you're racist. A person like Jason Aldean, he's white, he's from the country, so he's basically the untouchable, okay, of society. And whenever someone like him, whenever they say something, they create what's called basically a false crime, okay? Jason Aldean is guilty of nothing. When they say lynching, they're reading into things. There's no actual word lynching in the song. They're reading into it. They're trying to imagine the hidden meaning that they think that he's putting in there, but he didn't say anything about that. He's like, if you try to mess with my community will run you out of town.
They'll mess with you right back.
Yeah, and more than that, it could also mean that our police will actually do something about you. They're not just going to turn a blind eye. All of these things are very easy explainable. The problem is that they create the false crimes, and the goal is to get you to give a false confession. You have to confess your imaginary crimes that they made up, and they want you to basically sell your soul, in order to admit to a crime that you didn't commit. Okay? This is a struggle session, a modern day struggle session, and that's how it works. The goal is to break you spiritually, emotionally, and culturally by seeking all the power of all the institutions, getting your friends to turn on you. And it's basically like James Lindsay said, it's psychological torture.
Yeah,
I know it doesn't sound like that, but it's actually psychological torture. Historically, people have analyzed it, and it is. Struggle sessions are psychological torture meant to put the person into an incredible amount of horrible scrutiny, and meant to make them think they're crazy for agreeing with the group. Now, anybody who understands what's happening, you have to know, number one, you never ever apologize. Ever apologize to the mob. Never.
No.
That is what they want.
Mistake
they want
numero uno.
Mistake number one: never apologize to the mob.
Yeah.
Even if you think that they make some good points, even if you think that there's some little hint of anything that might sound reasonable, these people are not reasonable. They don't care about reason. They care about forcing you to apologize so that you get on board. The goal is to break you and to scare other people into not crossing their arbitrary lines. Okay. Secondly, you never turn on somebody around you. If a coworker is being struggle sessions, if a friend of yours, a family member is being struggle sessions, the very last thing you should ever do is turn on them.
Yeah.
Because remember, that's what they want, and then you become a traitor. And by the way, this happens everywhere. This happened here in Alberta during elections. This happens to popular podcasters. The people who know learn how to deal with this, and the way you deal with this is you can make a statement, but then just completely tune out. They will eventually give up and move on to somebody else. Don't fight the mob; you will lose. So Jason Aldean right now is going through a struggle session, and he needs your support. And he definitely needs don't give in to any of these people. They're not reasonable. They're basically bullies, and cruel bullies at that. That's what that's what's going on with Jason Aldean. Good on him for I haven't heard an apology. I hope that it doesn't happen. But yeah, good on him. I think it's this is of course, this is a witch hunt. It's not real. It's totally made up. It's totally fake. The people who are accusing him are the most hypocritical, double-standarded people imaginable. Yeah.
Well, yeah, talk about double standards. So from Patriot Concierge on Twitch, they did something similar like this with WAP by Cardi B while criticizing the Christmas song Baby It's Cold Outside. It's all part of the Me Too movement, which is, of course, 100% true. 100% true.
So true.
So that's pretty much what we're going to address as far as the rant of the week is concerned. Yeah, I didn't get to participate in most of it. My computer is still kind of going a little wonky. I don't know if it's entirely related to my keyboard. Apparently, I've lost my ability to scroll. And some functions have returned, some functions have not. I'm not entirely certain what's going on with this, so we'll see as time goes on. Hopefully things will sort themselves out. I'm just a little weirded out by all of it. And apparently whenever I try and change windows, I cannot just click on it. Whenever I click on it, it opens a new one. So it's really annoying.
I guess you'll figure it out, buddy. You'll figure it out.
I'm hoping. Well, I don't want to figure it out because I want it to go back to normal. Because it's annoying as crap. So
it is.
But let's go on to the Shrew Check, something we have not done in quite a while.
But it's always good.
Definitely needed to be done in this case. So let's jump into that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the Shrew Check is from... Dang it!
From Dang It?
Well, it's just this stupid system. I can't just click on it. I have to, like, hover. It takes me an extra, 3 seconds to open up a window. It's exceptionally annoying.
Which system is this?
No, it's just, my regular, Windows. When my keyboard died, it, turned on this, optional thing of, mouse keys.
Oh, okay.
And so now it's probably going to be set like this until I reset and turn off my computer, which of course I can't do midstream.
Okay, well, we'll just figure it out, man.
Yeah, I'll work around it. So we're going to do the best I can. So let's watch this. This is from Tim Pool. It says Drag Queen Defends Drag Queen Story Hour. Do you have a starting point, Danny?
Just go with the very beginning.
Sure.
Because little context. This if anybody didn't watch this, I recommend go to YouTube. Go to the called Tim Pool, but it's not from the Timcast IRL. It's from the Culture War podcast, which Tim Pool has basically been doing regularly every Friday. He does a Culture War podcast, and they've been very good because he invites a lot of people that are very oftentimes controversial, and oftentimes there's really opposite views, which has been great. Now, one of the things that always happens when you have any kind of long form debate is most of the time leftists refuse to come on a show like a non-leftist show. I'm going to say that because Tim Pool is not conservative. He's very centrist in a lot of ways, leftist in some fiscal policies or ideas, and maybe a little bit right wing on some things. He's not exactly easy to pin down, but the fact that this person showed up was pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And now I watched the entire the entire 2-hour thing. This one was interesting and worth watching. And I'll say this: here's what I need you to understand about this specific person. What was this person's name? Maybe a girl. Okay, the person you see here with the blonde hair, obviously a drag queen, dude and all that. There's also a bald guy. He's also a drag queen, but he's against. He supports drag queen, but he doesn't like the idea that they're targeting children. Okay, so the whole podcast was an incredible example of a person that is a professional con artist. Okay, this person, the person in the blonde, they're also a politician. I don't know if they're running for or if they are a political member of some. They're in politics somehow. I forgot. They said it on the show. But this person is a professional. They know how to talk to points. They know how to dodge dodgy questions. And you have to remember, this person is not substantive, but they're very good at gaslighting. They're gaslighting experts. So I wanted to kind of walk through it because this is like an incredible example of what a professional gaslighting con artist looks like. Because they sound really good, but when you really dig down, they're not actually making solid points. So, without further ado, let's get into it, Stephen.
Sure. Just making the tweets.
All right, sounds good.
And should be done now. So let's watch this video.
It's 10 minutes. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We're going to try to get as far as we can with what they say. But yeah, go for it.
So let's full screen it, and let's just start from the beginning. And yeah, just tell me when you want to pause it.
Okay. And the fact of the matter is, most drag performers are not grooming children. Most drag performers, when they are engaging in drag queen story hour, there's benefits to that. The benefits of drag queen story hour, you know, kids love being read to. You know, I remember being read to as a child. I remember sitting in the library, and I remember the librarian being a little boring and just, oh, kids, here's the story, here you go. When kids are imaginative, kids love imagination and fantasy and fun. And there is something that is very imaginative and fantasy filled about drag performance, whether or not you are a cis or trans drag performer. And so children love to be read to by drag performers because it's fun and it's imaginative and it's fantasy filled. And they're not even saying, okay, you have to be a drag performer, you have to be trans, you have to be LGBTQIA. And that's part of the argument that I disagree with, that LGBTQIA people, and specifically drag performers, are grooming children. We're not grooming them. We're trying to say that you are welcome to be you as you are. If you are cis, heterosexual, fabulous. If you end up being queer, fabulous. We're not trying to steer you any particular way. But I remember being a queer...
Okay, yeah. Okay, you go, then I'll go. Go for it.
Okay, so this person is basically talking out of two ends of their mouth. Okay? On the one hand, they're saying, like, nobody's trying to groom your kids. But at the same time, they're like, but if you want to be... like, you're giving them options as like, you can be anything you want. You can be somebody, like, you know, who's transgender, who wants to, like, cut off parts of their body and put in all sorts of drugs that are going to make them a lifelong, like, you know, medical patient and all that. But we're not grooming. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. They also made the case like why it's a good idea to do this to kids. It's like they described that, oh, but kids are so imaginative. They love, like, you know, playing with imagination. You just made a case for why this is a very excellent target for grooming. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, you got a very captive audience who loves, like, you know, imagination, and you're gonna, like, you know, cater to their imagination.
Well, and it's not just a matter of they have an overactive imagination. They have a sense of wonder, a sense of magic. You are trying specifically to target individuals who have a tenuous grasp on reality, because as children, they have a difficult time identifying what is real and what is not. And that's when you want to slip in. That's when you want to go in and talk to these children and say, this is what you could be. This is all the things that you can do in your magic-filled imagination. You can be a girl if you want, even though you're born a boy, you can be a girl. Or, you can dress up. You could be a drag queen, and you could put all this makeup on, and you can make yourself all pretty and happy and fulfill your magic desires of a child. Yeah. No, this is absolutely rubbish.
By the way, this person is also, their definition of what grooming is basically, like, super simplistic. It's like, if you're telling kids that you can be a drag queen or you can be gay or trans and all that, apparently that's grooming. But if you're not explicitly saying that, it's like, it's not grooming. Wink, wink. It's like, okay, groomer.
Okay, groomer. Let's keep going.
Your child. And I remember not having any sort of mentor or model to look at. And I felt very othered. And I felt very different. And it actually caused a lot of mental health problems. You actually introduce children to the diversity of gender identity, to the diversity of sexuality, to the diversity of everything other than the cis heteronormative family, you show kids that it's okay to be you as you are. You don't have to follow this particular guideline that is, again, defined by the patriarchy.
Oh, and you know what happens then? Then you get 38% of university students identifying as LGBTQ because, no, you're not letting them live as they are. You're not encouraging their biological reality. You are encouraging a social contagion because guess what? Yeah, groomer.
Grooming takes a lot. Grooming comes in a lot of forms. If you're trying to basically like, by the way, Stephen, that the founding document of Drag Queen Story Hour and the very people who designed it said it was basically designed to put glitter in the carpet that you can never remove. The idea is to plant ideas into children's heads that will basically start getting them thinking and start making them explore. And the second part of the idea is you want to normalize it so that children see this as a good thing, not to have that that instinctive oh, this is weird kind of reaction. There's children naturally have a bit of an aversion to when they see clowns are a little bit off-putting, right? Yeah. But these people are basically modern day. They are clowns because they're
clowns, but they're labeling themselves as caretakers.
Yes,
and that's what's a clown is meant to make you laugh. That's why all these other people, they're drag queens have been around for a while. Let's look at Mrs. Doubtfire. Let's look at Bugs Bunny. Those are not meant to be taken seriously. Those are humorous. They're portraying it because it's ridiculous. You are portraying it because you see it as an expression of your true self. You don't find yourself humorous. You are 100% serious, not only about yourself identifying as this interesting phenomenon, which I can't say a lot of things because, of course, this is big tech we're on, and we can't say a lot of the things that we want to say, but you don't think of yourself as a joke, even though you are a joke. But you're unwilling to label yourself that. You are a clown putting on a sheep's
woman face.
Oh yeah, you're a clown putting on a woman face. That's actually a great way of putting it.
Yeah, by the way, this person, their argument is basically I want the world to revolve around me and make me feel comfortable. And so the goal is I need to go in and basically undermine the parents that I think are evil and cruel and mean and all that kind of stuff. And I don't care about the parents. I get to I get to create the world I want. Yeah. I get to create the world I want. I get to this is undermining parents. And by the way, that's the most insidious part of this whole thing.
All right, let's keep going.
Yeah.
And you can be whoever you are, and you're welcome to be who you are. I'm not saying you must be trans, you must be a drag performer, but if you end up being that when you grow up, great. And I remember not having that sort of influence. And I remember the impact that it had on my mental health as a queer youth in the late 1990s and the early 2000s, not seeing anybody that was like me anywhere in society. And it made me fearful to be who I am.
Okay,
are you familiar with Desmond is Amazing?
Okay, before it gets into that, she's this person is saying oh, I didn't see anybody like me, and that made me feel afraid. I'm like, there's a reason for that. Because if you are a transgender individual in the real world back before this insanity came through, you were part of a 0.03 percentage of of individuals.
And that was in the 90s.
That was in the 90s.
And that was 100. That was exponentially. That was 10 times higher.
There's
100% higher than it was, or 10 times greater.
Yes,
than it was the previous generation.
It's not that different from people who suffer from things like dwarfism or people who have really rare skin conditions that make their skin really bizarre or something like that. These people exist everywhere, and they don't have to be afraid. But what this person wants is they want to completely turn all society to affirm them. This is the danger of this community.
You look at a lot of these people, and it's I was this way since birth. Completely false. Many studies confirm that there is absolutely zero genetic link to any of this unnatural sexual behavior, drag queens, transgenderism, homosexuality, the whole lot. There is no genetic link whatsoever. So trying to say that you're born this way is complete bollocks.
You know what the treatment protocol before was for people who suffered from actual gender identity disorder? It's called watchful waiting.
Mm-hmm.
That was the actual treatment protocol because it was so rare that the goal was to help you with therapy, like to help you kind of like try to reconcile your what your belief is, like what your mind perceives and what reality is. The goal is to try to get those back in alignment. It's exactly the same as somebody who suffers from anorexia. What you believe is true and real, it's not actually lining up with reality, and the goal is to get those things aligned again. Right now, they're like, no, you are like, you can magically, like, like say a magic word to become the different gender. This person is like advocating all sorts of. Anyways,
and everything they're doing is looking at their own personal history through kind of rainbow-colored glasses. It's like, because in reality, what they actually had, most likely, is they had a troubled youth. Guess what? It's not that uncommon. It's unfortunate. We have a broken society. It comes from being in a fallen world that's rejected God, and it's becoming more and more likely as our society plummets towards destruction and chaos because of our rejection of God. But with that, you're saying, oh, no. Like, my upbringing was only bad because I wasn't affirmed. It's like, well, you likely never even thought of this. This never passed your mind. And then as an adult, then you're like, oh, this is how I can get notoriety. This is how I can claim victimhood throughout my entire life. And it's not just something that I developed in adulthood by being around other people that have a similar mindset to me. This way I can claim it as though it's been something I've experienced since childhood, even though you would talk to some of these people. Yeah. Like I talked to a guy. Okay, just last thing. I talked to a guy. A guy used to live in my parents' basement. He now claims that he is a woman. This person, as of like 2012, 2013, was actively speaking out against this stuff. It was immoral. It was wrong. And now they're living in this really disturbed way. And he has a child in which he's basically bringing up alongside him into believing that this child has two moms. And it's truly, truly devastating to the family.
A good point they make throughout this whole culture war podcast is they make it. I mean, Tim Pool really pulls it out. Is that the idea is like these people are not content unless you treat them and affirm them in everything that they do. Like the other guy that we won't hear much from him, but the other drag queen that opposes this, he says the goal should be to not care about what people say to you. That's mentally healthy people can ignore.
They don't care whether they get reactions or not.
And like can ignore and avoid and reject when people call them mean names. Okay, that's a mentally healthy person. A mentally unstable and a mentally deranged person is someone that flies off a handle and becomes enraged when you call them a mean word or something like that, or you say something unnice to them.
Unnice.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue. We'll probably
bring Tim Pool's. Go back
yes.
Do you have any thoughts? I'll ask some questions, but I just want to let you open up.
Yeah, I don't know Desmond. I have seen Desmond online. I know that they are a queer youth who wanted to engage in drag, and I think that's perfectly okay. I don't think that Desmond's parents are behind the scenes saying, you have to be a drag performer. We're trying to groom you to be trans. There is actually no benefit to it because queer people and
little side note, Desmond's parents are giving him ketamine. So, yeah, probably not the best idea to encourage the fact that Desmond's parents are good people.
Yeah. Keep going.
Trans people are overwhelmingly ostracized in the society that we live in, that I don't think that a person who didn't want to engage in that would choose to engage in that knowing the kind of ostracism and criticism and hatred that would come to follow. The things that I've said.
Really quick. I want to point that out. this is like the bait and switch that they do. On the one hand, they claim that, like, the trans community, that the people in there are oh my goodness, they're victims. They're
The
being
ultimate victim.
abused. The ultimate victims are being abused, and everyone's super mean and horrible and stuff. Yet at the same time says that, but they're totally they this person will always try to make it seem like they're these poor unfortunate souls. They're always like mistreated. Desmond is amazing. Gets the full and unilateral support of every mainstream media outlet out there. They get nothing but positive press. They get all sorts of deals and endorsements and money from all sorts of organizations. They get nothing but praise and applause from all of the tons of people who are all totally sold out for this kind of thing. The idea that these people don't have a benefit is nonsense. Dylan Mulvaney is a perfect example of that. Dylan Mulvaney created the most incredibly insulting caricature of women and transgender people, and they've cleaned up. They're now probably worth triple six figures because of the enormous amount of money that they've gotten. So no, it's not true. It's not true that there's no incentive, because the people in the transgender community are by far some of the most protected and defended and supported and completely insulated people ever. Do they get criticism? Yes. Any public figure, no matter how big or small they are, will get some criticism. Stephen and I, we're not exactly massive, super big figures, but we get lots of criticism on. We constantly get all sorts of negative comments on our Facebook page or whatever. No, comes up. Yeah, that happens. But apparently, in their bizarro world, it's oh, I get negative criticism. I'm a poor victim. It's give me a break. I mean, again, this is the emotional hemophiliacs condition that these people usually have. So I don't know. What do you think, Steve? Or do you want to keep going?
Oh, let's keep going.
Okay.
Just doing a quick retweet. There we go. I was responding to, there was someone on Twitch. I wasn't quite sure. So I haven't seen Dr. Greer on the Sean Ryan show, but maybe I'll check it out sometime during this week and get back to you. So let's continue. And this will probably be the last segment we do, because we're already at
sure. Yeah, cool.
Basically an hour.
Go for it.
Read about this child are disgusting, and that's so much more horrific than this person saying, I want to put on a skirt and a wig and perform.
Are you're familiar with go-go dancing, I assume?
Yeah.
And bikini bars?
Sure, yeah.
In many states, what they define as stripping is the removal of any clothing on stage with no nudity. The act of removing clothing is the stripping of clothing.
So, Tim, this is stripping?
If you are on stage for a bunch of adults...
I'm on stage for a bunch of adults right now.
Offering you money for the explicit purpose of seeing you remove clothing, this is where you have, context matters, right? I think...
But I think I get where you're going at, Tim, but here's the thing. Drag performers, there is the reveal of drag. I think that a lot of people just aren't familiar with drag culture, and there is this idea of performing where there's a reveal. And that doesn't mean stripping down and being sexual. Taking off a garment to show an undergarment does not mean that it is stripping or being sexual.
So in
Whoa!
South Dakota might...
Whoa! That's
what?
Absolutely insane.
What?
Stripping down and showing undergarments is not sexual.
Of course not. They will always...
Well, that's just an excuse.
Yes.
It's how you can defend showcasing all of these things. We've seen it when we did our special, we did our live interview with Derek Reimer, and going over everything that has been exposed and everything that has been seen in drag shows across North America or across the Western world, and specifically in the United States. There hasn't been too much here in Canada, but it is getting worse here in Canada. In Toronto, it's pretty bad. But if you can claim that dancing, gyrating in your underpants is not sexual, then guess what? It makes it totally safe and family-friendly to do in front of children.
Yeah, this person basically. So this individual, this is how they operate. Whenever you bring up a legitimate criticism, they say either A, it's not happening, by trying to say like, oh, it's only a tiny minority of very minimal or something like that, and then they basically say like, well, I don't support it. It's like, well, yeah, but a lot of like major figures do. Like, well, I don't support it. It's like this is what they do, right? And then on top of that, they try to gaslight, they try to downplay, downplay. Okay, so this person is basically saying any legitimate criticism of Drag Queen Story Hour, what they're doing and all that, it's always like, like, oh, that's a tiny fringe minority. Never have. It's the old. It's not happening, but even if it is happening, it's a good thing. Like this is like a perfect example of how to do that and how these people do this with all sorts of like, very slick and very like, crafty, like, basically professional lies. They're professional con artists. And by the way, this is a true believer. There's a person that truly believes that that there's a transgenocide going on. They said that on the culture show. They're the ones that like, are all about fear mongering, right? Whenever they said like, like, well, when they talked about the books that are in the schools, like Tim Pool actually showed, here's the books. Do you think that this is appropriate? Like, like that to show children pornography. It's like, well, that's not pornography. What are you talking about? That's not pornography. And when that didn't work, they basically said like, well, like, how do you define child? Like a child can be anywhere from like, like 6 years old all the way to 18. And it's like, yes, but like children under 10 should not be shown this. Like, well, some schools have like, overlaps. So like a school might have like, the junior high kids and like some elementary kids. And it's like, it's always like gaslighting, obfuscating, pretending like it's not a big deal, downplaying, saying it's not happening. But then when it does happen, it's a good thing as well. I wanted to highlight this person because this is how they do it. This is how they convince the regular public, because they convince the regular public that, again, they're victims and we're like, marginalized. Well, peel, like it's weaponized compassion. But then again, they go out and they basically like accuse all the people who oppose them as being like the ultimate purveyors of horrible evil, and that they're like not one of their arguments is legitimate, and they're like, these are truly evil people. This is the banality of evil right here in this person's face. This is a person who is doing evil, but they believe that they're doing good.
Yeah.
Right? This is exactly what's going on. So yeah, I recommend
watching the full video. Yeah.
Go watch the full video. It's long. It may be a little infuriating, but you'll get a good idea of how these people operate and the kind of ways that they dodge the questions and that they avoid any real accountability for the kind of things that are happening and things that are children. So, yeah, definitely recommend go watching it. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Right.
All right. So let's continue on and jump into the news that you may have missed, to talk about the news that you may have missed.
Repetition.
That's what we always do here.
I know. I got it.
All right, so starting off with the Gateway Pundit. Breaking, Grassley releases FBI document. Oh, and now I have scrolling. That's great. Showing Joe Biden was involved in $10 million bribery scheme with Burisma executive. Biden forced oligarch to pay up. So Senator Chuck Grassley on Thursday released an FBI document showing Joe Biden was involved in a $10 million bribery scheme. The FD 1023 form alleged the then Vice President Joe Biden forced Zlochevsky, a Ukrainian oligarch, to pay himself and his son Hunter Biden a total of $10 million. According to the document, Hunter's bribery arrangement was described as Polichili? Oh, I have to say it in a Russian accent. Polichili! Which is a Russian crime slang for being forced or coerced to pay.
No, it's extortion
or bribery. There was another, I forget exactly what the word was, but there was when we went to Ukraine and our driver got pulled over, they had a specific word for, it was basically it was a word in Ukrainian for under the table. And it was essentially how things worked in that, you can either pay like $50 as the fine, or you can pay $20 under the table. And so it was something that everyone did. And if you didn't pay under the table, then they usually add more fines and more offenses to charge you with. Dang. And then if you still refuse to pay under the table, then sometimes they would arrest you. There was a guy that my mom knew that didn't have his wallet with him one day, and he's like, well, I can't pay under the table. Like, I can't. I don't have my wallet with me. And so they arrested him and held him in jail for 2 weeks for that.
Dang, really?
Yep.
Happens to see. I think I've heard that similar in Mexico. When you get pulled over by a cop, you don't get a ticket. You basically pay them off. By the way, just a quick reminder: can you go to the bottom of that article, just really quick?
Yes, I can.
And just remind people what like this has been open knowledge for ages that Joe Biden basically admitted live in a not exactly
this one right here.
Yeah, that one right there. Just remind people of
going over convincing our team, our others, to convincing that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to the press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time.
Yep.
Someone who looked the other way for my son.
Yeah, how funny how that works. Like the American people are being asked to believe that Donald Trump, who is amazingly enough squeaky clean, the guy is literally, it's amazing how Congress is guilty of some horrible things, except Donald Trump. It's truly amazing. But Joe Biden is so obviously, super guilty. He's not just guilty, he's super guilty. And it's so obvious that the justice system is covering for him. But anyways, from post-millennial, we're going to talk about that. Democrat representative accidentally confirms Joe Biden talked to son Hunter about business deals despite repeated denials. Goldman made the comments as he questioned IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley about the notorious WhatsApp message exchange with Biden and Chinese energy officials. Can you play the video there?
Right here? Yeah.
Yep.
And you testified that he said that Hunter told his dad, according to Rob Walker, quote, I may be trying to start a company or try to do something with these guys. Now, let me ask you something. That doesn't sound much like Joe Biden was involved in whatever Hunter Biden was doing with the CEFC if Hunter Biden is telling him that he's trying to do business with them, does it?
No, but it does show that he told his father he was trying to do business. And he was
okay, well, that is true. Hunter Biden does
try
to
That
do business.
is true.
Whoops.
So you don't only have no direct evidence connecting Joe Biden to any of Hunter Biden's business deal.
Whoops.
You actually had proof that he wasn't involved.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
what
that's
what does Biden says multiple times?
Multiple times.
What was the phrase that Biden said over and over?
I never talked to
I've never talked about to my son about business.
Or my brother. I heard the quote earlier. Biden is basically a professional liar. Don't believe a thing he says. But it was so funny to see this.
Yeah. So here it is. One of the main reasons for the committee hearing was to confirm that Biden knew about his son's business dealings. It's like, well, yep, he did. That proved it. So,
and in fact,
I don't know what else you're trying to say here.
It was a Democrat who, spilled the beans. It's like, whoops, way to go. You fired, bro. Way to go.
You fired.
These people are incompetent. Anyways, let's go to Fox News.
Yeah. I'm just quickly typing
when
out
you're
something.
ready. Oh, he's not ready. Okay. By the way,
I am ready now. Okay, let's go.
Like a stall.
Well, I'm just like I'm. This is pretty actually interesting. This is the first night we've ever streamed on Kick, and we have rarely dropped below 5 active viewers.
Wow.
Whereas like
Twitch is weird. Like it hops and
Twitch right now it says we have 1.
Yeah, I think
mostly because a lot of people have left Twitch to go to Kick, but Kick has like a consistent number.
That's
whereas Twitch is not viewers, it's engagers. So like if you're not actively commenting, it doesn't count you as an active viewer.
Oh. Okay,
whereas Kick is basically like as long as you have the window open, then you count.
That's crazy. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering why that number constantly went up and down.
That's why like I keep telling people on Twitch, I was like, okay, you got to keep commenting. You got to keep commenting, otherwise that number is going to stay really low. Because it's only like recent people coming on when it's people commenting.
Interesting.
So Dutch-assisted suicide activist convicted of mailing deadly drugs to over 1,000 people. Identified as Alex S. reportedly mailed suicide kits to over 1,600 people before his arrest. Just a lovely, lovely person. Dutchman has been convicted of helping at least 10 people commit suicide via lethal drugs and instructions on how to take their own lives. He is convinced that every person has the right to decide their own life and believes that government policy in this area falls short. Alex S. sold suicide kits to approximately 1,600 people before he was arrested. And the court sentenced him to 3.5 years. 3.5 years.
It's like you know what? I can sense. Well, I just basically mailed them a gun with a couple bullets and be like, here you go.
And 18 months are suspended and only to be served if he offends again.
Oh, so basically he's guilty.
He's
of
basically
murder.
going to be spending 2 years in prison for contributing. Like at the very least, he should be guilty because they said that he was involved in the deaths of 10 people.
So quick question, Stephen.
Yes.
And maybe for those listening as well. If you let's say for example, I have a friend. Let's say I have a friend, and he's telling me he's feeling suicidal. Imagine if I hear that he's being suicidal, and I'm like, I basically like give him a gun and be like, here you go. If you feel suicidal next time, this will take care. This will solve your problems and all that. What would I be guilty of if he actually negligent homicide, second manslaughter, what would be the charge if I was actually guilty of that, or if I actually gave something like that? Do you know, or I'm guessing negligent homicide was
yes.
the way
I would say negligent homicide, or I'm having trouble finding the word for it.
Manslaughter?
No, it's like when you're assisting, when you are
co-conspirator.
Maybe I wouldn't say it'd be that. You'd be
accessory.
Yes, an accessory. An accessory to manslaughter is how I would charge him in every single one of these cases.
Right.
And if you're involved in 10 cases where you're an accessory to manslaughter, that should this guy should at least be facing life in prison. At least.
Absolutely.
But now he's facing 2 years? Like, it's a joke.
Yeah, he's responsible for the death of several people. Like, that's the kind of thing where, no, you should be facing a lot more. This person is directly responsible for many people killing themselves. That's why I said, if I help my friend, who wants to commit suicide, into killing himself, that's horrible.
Yep.
Unless you're sending them a suicide kit, then it's okay.
Then it's okay.
It's incredible.
All right, let's move on.
Let's go to the another post-millennial story. So, breaking: House Dems attempt to censor RFK Jr. during censorship hearing.
Yeah, this is just
what are the odds?
It's so on the nose.
8 Democrats voted to censor RFK from speaking in the hearing on censoring, to which he was invited to speak. You can't make this stuff
How
up.
long is this video?
I'd like to raise a point of order.
Young lady can say a point of order.
Point of order pursuant to House Rule 11, Clause 2, which Mr. Kennedy is violative of. I move that we remove into executive session because Mr. Kennedy has repeatedly made despicable, anti-Semitic, and anti-Asian comments as recently as last week. Rule 11, Clause 2 says, whenever it is asserted by a member of the committee that the evidence or testimony at a hearing may tend to defame, degrade, or incriminate any person, or it is asserted by a witness that the evidence or testimony that the witness would give at a hearing may tend to defame, degrade, or incriminate the witness, and it goes on. Mr. Kennedy, among many other things, has said, I know a lot now about bioweapons. We put out hundreds of millions of dollars into ethnically targeted microbes. The Chinese have done the same thing. In fact, COVID-19, there is an argument that it is ethnically targeted. COVID-19 attacks certain races disproportionately.
Yeah, Debbie Wasserman-Schultz goes on for a while. She's a blowhard.
Yeah, I mean, like, just looking at her face, I'm like, I think she would be a very unpleasant person in real life. Like, just legitimately, like, you go to coffee with her, like, well. But it's amazing. Like, she's literally reading this stuff, and in front of him, and will not allow. I'm guessing. What they? Yeah. I mean, look, that's the kind of stuff that they did in Soviet Russia, when they drag you in front of, like, a kangaroo court. They read all your charges and all your apparent, like, like things that you've done, but you're not allowed to respond. You're not allowed to propose a defense. It's like they're a kangaroo, like Banana Republic. Like, my goodness,
it's like they're full of crap.
Stop trying to prove yourself. Like that. What the completely farce of a government that you are. My goodness, couldn't believe that.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Let's move on. Let's move on before we just laugh any harder. Fox runs clip of Biden mumbling incoherently. John Kirby. It was very.
We're gonna fail. We're gonna fail on this one.
Oh yeah, we're gonna laugh really hard.
Again, you just watch this. This is brutal. Full screen.
Well, so John Kirby, of course, we featured him on the show on Tuesday, and he was the one mentioning about how it was a sacred duty of the military to provide its female service members with abortions.
By the way, John Kirby really lives up to his name. He's basically Kirby. He's full of he's like full-winded. He's full of hot air. Yeah. It's crazy. He lives up to the name.
Right,
but watch this exchange with him.
This moment got a bit of attention, and it's not the only one that is kind of like this that we sometimes see, and I just want to play it for you.
Sure. And we brought Israelis and Palestinians together at a political level, and Akwa and all Shram. Yes. And as I affirmed to Prime Minister Netanyahu yesterday, America's commitment to Israel is firm.
John, this got a lot of attention. It got picked up in a lot of places. Why is it so hard to understand what the president is trying to say there?
I think he was very, very clear, Martha. First of all, our commitment to Israel's security is ironclad. Not going to change.
Let's watch that again.
This got a lot of attention. It got.
Oh my gosh!
And Akwa and all Shram. And
the Aqua and the Bow. Yeah, very clear. My ass.
Do you notice, like, also when you hear the volume, it's like there's a lot of background noise. You hear like the buzz. It's because they have to turn the microphone up so much just to be able to like capture any of his incoherent mumbling. Like, that's not a normal microphone level. They have to like turn it up because he's mumbling into his chest. Like, the guy is literally like a what do you call it when somebody's like old and like like losing it, or like they're senile. Yeah, the guy's senile.
Oh, crazy senile.
And he's a president. You can see the guy there from who's that Israeli guy he's talking to?
He's talking to the president
of Israel,
which is sort of like, and I think it was Ben Shapiro. He was saying that the president of Israel is sort of like a figurehead, doesn't have any actual real power. It's
just weird,
just like a place. And the guy with the actual power is the prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, and
basically the guy that doesn't know what to do with him. He's like, okay, all right, don't know what you just said. Okay, it's crazy. So it's just unbelievable, like the way they cover for this guy. Like, it's literally the emperor has no clothes with President Biden. That's what it is. So unreal. Okay, let's do the last story here.
All right.
So this is from the Post-Millennial former. This one I saw yesterday, and I was like,
this one's a much bigger story.
It's crazy. Former Google chief says AI dolls can simulate real sex. Asks why anyone would need another being.
Let's watch the video.
Let's do it.
So let's Oh, is it?
I don't know if there's a video.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's a video. Let me go through the story. Okay, adults might soon be able to take care of their sexual needs by turning to AI as advances in technology can mimic realistic sex, the Daily Mail reports. According to former Google executive Mo Gaudat, the convergence of virtual reality and augmented reality may lead to sex dolls that seem alive. The risk of this could result in very significant redesign of love and relationship. You don't say. It's like, if you think pornography is addictive, imagine when you get a sex doll that looks like, Lucy Liu or favorite, favorite actress in like Hollywood, and you basically get to have sex with them like all the time with no stop. Like, good luck if you thought like porn was addictive. You'll never come out of your bedroom ever. It's insane. If we think a few years further and think of Neuralink and other ways of connecting directly to your nervous system, why would you need another being in the first place? Oh, this guy's a lovely sounding lunatic. We get lost in those conversations of, are they alive? Are they sentient? Doesn't matter. My brain believes they are. They are. So
that is a 100. Well, that conversation. If my brain believes they are. Yep. It's just a twisting of words to say feelings don't care about your facts.
That's right. That's right, Stephen.
And the things that he's saying, just think about all the illusions that we're unable to decipher. Except most people, most rational, logical, sensible people, want to determine and decipher the illusions that are in front of you. Because you want to be able to see the truth, you want to be able to discern what reality is, and you want to be able to make logical, rational decisions that are best for you, and for some people, best for their families. And of course, what this person is saying is, it doesn't matter what reality is. As long as your brain tells you that you're happy, you can live in the virtual world. This person is basically just being like, oh yes, sign up for your free sex robot, and then you'll go into the metaverse, and you don't have to ever live in the real world ever again.
Never come out. I mean, right now there's a crisis of men that refuse to get married. They don't want to risk, the downsides of marriage. Imagine what this would do to that problem. That would, shoot it into, the stratosphere. Imagine if, did you ever see, Stephen, that episode of Futurama where Fry basically found out that he could basically have a sex robot, and he turned it, to turn that sex robot into Lucy Liu. And basically, he basically, it was nonstop. He just basically, that's all he wanted. That's all he needed. And that's all he did. He basically just, had, nonstop sex with a sex robot that was designed to do. He basically just, had, nonstop.
Sorry.
Or it's did you ever watch the movie? I think it's called? It's the one about, that super billionaire guy who brings a guy from his company, just some guy, and he introduces him to his AI, girl, that he wants him to interview her and all that. The whole movie's kind of a weird take on artificial intelligence. How can you know? That's kind of a grim ending. But one of the things that happens in that movie is that the guy basically created these AI robots of women, make them hyper real so that he could basically sleep with them all the time. I mean, we're not that far away from that. Just got to be able to make a realistic looking, skin on a robot, and simulate all the things, and add AI to make this thing talk and sound like a real person, and you basically have completely and totally broken men. Because if pornography is as pernicious as it is right now, and that's just the visual. Can you imagine if you actually have the experiential? It would kill. It would completely decimated men everywhere. So, it's a grim sign of the future.
All right. So that is the end of the news that you may have missed.
Dang it.
Well, do not be sad, for it is now time to move on to the weekly exposure. We can talk about terrible people, like our Prime Minister.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Trudeau.
Oh, my gosh.
So, this is a video from a town hall that he did yesterday.
This sounds like an actual town hall, because
Oh, it is. It is an actual town hall.
Because just so you guys know, anybody who's not from Canada, Justin Trudeau years ago tried to do legitimate town halls, and he just got absolutely criticized and mocked and ridiculed relentlessly in all them. They became a PR nightmare for him. So he started basically doing these town halls where everyone was pre-screened and pre-selected to be basically a Justin Trudeau fanboy or girl.
Yeah.
And so they were like totally fake.
And now anyone who kind of goes in under the guise of being a Justin Trudeau fanboy, if they challenge him in any way, I'll admit, some of these people that we're going to see in this video, they're not the most polite people.
Yeah, but they don't like Trudeau.
But they clearly don't like Trudeau, and they have a valid reason for doing so. And Canada's in shambles right now, and they have a totally valid reason for being upset. And this is what he does. So let's watch.
Sir, if you stop shouting, you could stay.
You could stay as you're being escorted out by 4 cops.
Yep.
Guess not. Okay.
And then he heckles and mocks the guy.
Thank you for coming out in this exercise in democracy.
Exercise in democracy.
As I kick you out for disagreeing with me.
It's the best system we have. Democracy's pretty good. Again. I am trying to engage with you. I am trying to speak with you. You don't respect anyone in this room? Then I'm going to have to ask you to leave this room. Usually it's not that easy. Usually it's harder to get them to admit they don't respect anyone in this room. I apologize for that. I apologize for the interaction. We'll have to stretch out the time a little more because I don't want you all to be penalized for that. Part of that, the other part of... come on. Come on. Really? Really? Oh, no. Well, you're still here? Okay,
You're still here?
Yes, we're going to ask the police to remove you.
My storm coats haven't removed you yet?
We're asking the police to remove you both. Time to go. Please remove her.
Bring the stormtroopers. Bring the stormtroopers.
Winston Churchill pointed out that democracy is messy. You know what?
It's messy.
This is about
messy.
Okay, do you have one quick question? What's your one question? Yes. How do I feel about critical discussion? ISIS. Okay. Have a wonderful
and escorted out.
Off she goes.
Participation in this democratic exercise.
You've been.
You disagreed with me. Thank you for participating in this democratic exercise. Well, I kick you out.
Responsibilities that comes with free speech means
responsibilities.
Will you please respect the people in this room? No. Then please leave. If you're not going to respect the people in this room, you need to leave. That's the rule. Sorry. Yes.
Censorship. My goodness.
Yeah.
So basically,
censorship of anyone who questions him.
By the way, just
it's absolutely crazy.
By the way, this is something I want to point out. This is a tactic in Marxist activism. Okay, but by the way, Justin Trudeau, don't believe a thing he says. He is not. He's not like a classical liberal. Doesn't believe in modern Western democracy. He is a full-blown communist, and he's using code words. Okay, he's using the same vocabulary, different dictionary. When he says democracy, he doesn't mean Western, like the way the West has done democracy over the years. He means a communist system or a communist type democracy, and this is how they operate. They censor and they remove and they completely and totally shut down any healthy debate. So he's not advocating for Western, traditionally historically Western government or democracy. He's advocating for a communist style. And by the way, Mao, in a lot of his speeches and a lot of his writings, he always talked about Chinese democracy, but really is a code word for for communism. So don't believe him. The reason he's using democracy all the time is because it's a code word. It's just a word that people know, but it's not. He doesn't mean what he's speaking in code. Basically, is what he's doing. You should know that. Anyways, go ahead, Stephen. No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay.
All right. So that's how Trudeau. Oh, let's also do the. Well, no, let's talk about Pierre.
Let's do this one
do
first
Pierre
and then
first.
do the other one. Yeah.
So this is Pierre Poilievre, also having a heckler. So let's see how he reacts. Hint, he doesn't use the police to kick them out.
Little contrast.
And we will not allow the central bank to bring in a digital currency to control our money. We already have digital money. It's called your bank account. It's called your credit card. We got a gentleman over there who's a little agitated. Hey, listen, I'll be happy to chat with you afterwards. We'll have a conversation afterwards. Go easy on him. He's okay. I'll have a chat with this gentleman afterwards. It's all right. You know what? Look, I understand why people are so frustrated. They feel like they're under attack. They've been under attack by their government in Ottawa for too long. So they're frustrated and divided and looking for a chance to speak out. And I want that young man to understand that I hear his voice. I feel the pain that he's been suffering. He's a legitimate person, and he deserves the respect of our leaders. Minister means servant. I will be his servant as well.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
It's a fairly stark difference.
Major difference.
In how you respond to people. Because one is a tyrant and one is a servant.
Yeah.
That's the difference between Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre. Because Justin Trudeau, if you disagree with Justin, then of course you're out on your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Pierre, at least from what he's showcasing, like I'm hoping this continues if he gets elected, then Pierre is trying to encourage open debate and saying it's like, okay, like I get that you're agitated, I get you have a point. I will talk to you later when it's a more appropriate time because right now we're doing a speech.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was a rally. This wasn't necessarily a town hall where people could ask questions.
Yeah.
But he still wanted to be open and willing to take someone who's agitated and who's raising his voice because he's upset. A lot of people in Canada are.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that a leader reacts to someone who disagrees with them showcases a lot of how they will act when confronted with opposition.
Yeah. The problem here is that Trudeau, this is not an offshoot. This is not a unique bad this day. This is not an offshoot. This is not. This is every day. Like Trudeau was on video, and a different like a fundraiser, but people had to pay a bunch of money. I think $1,500 just to get in. And these Native protesters came in. They were yelling and they were mad and they were like upset because of things that he they were yelling. Okay. Fair enough. People can show up, they could protest and all that. But what he did, like when they were getting kicked out, he's like, "Thank you for your donation." Like he was mocking them. Like this guy he is a legitimate a-hole. Like a legitimate a-hole. Like he is an absolutely despicable human being. So and he does this all the time. When people are mocking him and yelling at him in public, you'll see it all the time. People will be yelling, and they'll be yelling because they know they can't get close to him because he has this security detail around him. So they yell from a distance. And what does he do? He smiles and he waves at them. Again, it's mockery. He knows they're not there because they like him or because they're impressed with him. He's mocking them. Like this is such an incredibly despicable human being. Like it's amazing to me that people still like this guy. Like it's insane to me. But and again, by the way, in that town hall, anybody who understands or has seen Trudeau do these town halls before, what he does, what his thing is you ask him a question and he uses it as an opportunity to have a little mini speech that promoting his brand of liberalism and all that. That's how he actually works. He doesn't actually answer your question. He uses your question to try to sell his snake oil to more people. That's his approach. And that's why I can understand why that one lady who was kicked out, I think third person that was featured, she wasn't having it.
Oh no.
He was trying to force her to ask a question and then shut up so I can pontificate about how amazing we are. And of course you don't have a chance of a follow up. There's no follow up. Because that's not how Trudeau works. He uses people's questions or whatever, and he uses them as as a launch pad to try to to propagandize essentially. So yeah, this guy shows you what a truly despicable person this man is. I really do hope that he doesn't regain power in the next election. I really do hope so. All right, do you want to go into the Ontario story, Stephen?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So the other weekly exposure is talking about this story from Ontario. So Ontario teacher berate Muslim students for skipping Pride Day. Oh, same thing that happened in Edmonton. So in Windsor, Ontario this time, a place where I used to live, Northwood Public School. I've never heard of that school. So Northwood Public School teachers' long tirade amid reports of a very high absence rate of the school at its Pride Day. According to LifeSide News, approximately 600 of the school's 800 students stayed home.
That's amazing. Woo!
True North exclusively obtained a recording of the incident which took place in June.
Muslims are doing well over there.
So this is not the first incident of a teacher lashing at a Muslim students for participating in LGBTQ Pride. Of course, we talked about the one at Edmonton. But this is just some footage from, or a recording of what happened in Windsor in June.
I want to take a couple minutes to express to you some of my feelings about yesterday. How many of you came to school yesterday? Thank you. Thank you for those who came. We as a staff here at Northwood were incredibly hurt by the statement you made yesterday, for those of you who didn't come. And for those of you who were here, I apologize. You need to understand how hurt and disappointed we are in those actions. And take that home to your parents, because they're the ones who made you stay home.
Oh, these children are just victims, of course.
It was an incredible show of hatred.
Hatred.
And it is sad.
Sad. Disagreement is hatred.
It was hatred towards a community of people. And it was incredibly disgusting.
Yeah, okay, this goes on for another 14 minutes.
Lovely.
But just, it's very, very similar to the berating that the students got in Edmonton. It just took longer because this woman took forever to compose any words that she could put together in a coherent sentence. She talks sort of like Biden. Where it's like, it was incredibly sad. It's like, my goodness, you're an educator. You're a teacher, and it takes you like 3 seconds to come up with the word sad.
Sad. So sad.
Yeah, guess what? We can come up with the word sad in about half a second. Sad. Too bad for you.
Yeah, really
but this is like, it is so... It's so negative, and it's so...
It's slimy and scummy.
Oh,
it's
slimy.
Basically emotional. It's emotional manipulation.
It is. Of children. And then it's trying to paint their parents as hateful, as bigoted, as evil. And of course, later on, it's like, I don't even want to be. I think like I'm questioning whether I want to be your educator or not. And it's like, you are not better than these kids because you demand that they participate in your ideological beliefs. Like, let's. Oh, wonder of wonders, horror of horrors. What, like, anybody who suggested this, if a Christian teacher said, oh yes, you must participate in Good Friday or in Ash Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like, the backlash and the articles from CBC, the articles from Global about how Christians are shoving their beliefs down their... And if people didn't show up, and had a teacher berate them for it, oh boy, that teacher would be fired in negative 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But because this is a part of the LGBTQ mob, the Rainbow Mafia, this teacher will be extolled for her woke virtue signaling, and Neither this teacher nor the one in Edmonton. The one in Edmonton, as far as I know, has not been fired. I can do a quick check for it.
I know Trudeau was saying that she got reprimanded somehow. I haven't checked on it, but that's what he said. But then again, he's a professional liar, so I'm wrong. Everything Trudeau says is a lie until proven otherwise.
Yeah,
that's right. That's my bad.
Yeah, there is no. Yeah, this, as far as I know, this teacher has not been fired. There is no news stories about her being fired. So,
because of course they're not. They're part of the cult, so they're part of the in group. By the way, like this is happening everywhere, but it's particularly worse in schools because in schools you have a captive audience.
Yep.
The only defense that parents have from this like incredibly aggressive indoctrination, which is what it is. It's indoctrination by exposure, just nonstop exposure, and then shaming and silencing children. Anybody who doesn't agree, these schools are dangerous nowadays, and the problem is that any disagreement is considered hatred, and of course they use this manipulated language. It's all completely on purpose. When they say hatred, it's not hatred. It's just they call it hatred so that they can claim that they're victims, right? It's like I think that it's raining outside right now. It's like, no, it's not raining. You that's just hateful language. I'm like, it's literally raining outside. It's like, you bigot out there. Like it's that's the thing. Yeah, when they call you a bigot, when they call you a homophobe, call you a transphobe, what those words are really representing, they're modern day blasphemy laws or blasphemy accusations, because you are not allowed under any circumstances to criticize any part of the reading man, nice job. You're not allowed to criticize the sacred group. Okay, right now in this society, the most powerful, the most protected, and the most shielded of all the groups out there is the LGBT, the rainbow mafia. Okay, and therefore they are off limits, and anyone who says anything against them or does anything that disparages them or anything that in any way makes it look like they're not like the best, then you're accused of blasphemy. You're accused of all sorts of crimes. Again, remember how they do they accuse you of a crime that's not real. A parent has the right to decide if their kid will participate or not participate in any school lesson, because those kids do not belong to the school. The school is offering a program, and the parents get to decide, no, I don't actually want my kid to go to the program or not, or to participate in that field trip or that special event or something like that. The parent, the idea that teachers have the right to demand that children have to attend or else is so insanely it's so evil. And and I'm shocked. Like, I'm not shocked that so many parents are finally pushing back and saying, like, we've had enough of this. Leave the freaking kids alone. By the way, hate comment right there, because apparently that's what the media says.
What?
The media basically accused several people in Alberta of spreading hateful content on our t-shirts. And what was the content on our t-shirts? Leave our kids alone.
Yeah, leave our kids alone.
Hateful content. It's like, okay, you're crazy.
Well, and it was interesting because one of the things that the person with the shirt, they're like, oh yeah, the police are the Calgary police are investigating this individual with the shirt for online hate crime charges.
Of course they are.
And it's like, of course, because hate crimes are anything that the government hates.
It's like I said, it's blasphemy.
It is blasphemy.
We're creating a brand new blasphemy laws in what is
despicable.
In Pakistan, Iran, and other Muslim countries. You are not allowed to say even the slightest negative word about the Prophet Muhammad or against Allah. You can't, under pain of imprisonment or possibly death. Okay, it's blasphemy, full on blasphemy laws. Okay, I think it was Thailand or Singapore. There's a royal family over there, and you are not allowed to criticize or say anything remotely disparaging about the royal family, or else you could actually like face like legitimate jail time.
Yep.
Like there are reporters that like were really scared of like, like, oh, did I say something?
Oh yeah, you'd be
king?
terrified.
Yeah,
like
that's what we're creating here. Blasphemy laws.
Yeah, it's scary. But let's finish off with the weekly highlight. Let's talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Go Marjorie.
So, from MTG, she shows censored nude pictures of Hunter Biden during IRS whistleblower hearing. So she caused a stir when she held up several graphic photos from Hunter Biden's laptop during committee hearing.
You haven't switched over to the
I'm sorry.
The article page.
I'm very sorry, everybody.
That's why I'm keeping track.
Yeah. So the House Oversight Committee interviewed 2 IRS whistleblowers alleging political misconduct. We've already talked a little bit about that. Ziegler testified Wednesday that Hunter Biden itemized a $10,000 deduction on his 2018 tax return for supposed golf club membership. That was really a sex club membership. That he wrote off payments to prostitutes as business expenses. Just a wonderful person.
I guess that would be a business expense.
Greene held up censored nude photos taken from the abandoned laptop and addressed Ziegler. So when Hunter Biden paid for this woman to do this with him to travel across state lines from California to Washington, D.C. on June 15th, this is a violation of the Mann Act. This was prostitution. There's evidence of Hunter Biden making sex, this is my time, making porn, she said, holding up another photo as Democrats objected. Let's watch this. It's right at the end.
Hunter Biden and his also Mr. Shapley.
Come on.
So this is
Chairman. We're 1 minute and 53 seconds over. As long as Ms.
I'm glad that this is blacked out because
I will let Ms. Green wrap up 5 seconds, and then I'll give Mr. Mafume additional time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Shapley, you started an investigation into Hunter Biden, codenamed Sportsman, which opened in November of 2018. It was an offshoot of an investigation the IRS was conducting into a foreign-based amateur online pornography platform. This is evidence of Hunter Biden making sex. Excuse me, this is my time. Making pornography.
Should we be displaying this, Mr. Chairman?
Get a lady's time.
Yeah, it's unbecoming. It's unbecoming of Congress to show what our person is participating in.
Oh, mercy. Dear
mercy,
Lord,
Hunter
mercy
Biden.
Oh,
we can't showcase what he's up to. That would be just horrible. Horrible. Oh my goodness. And then, of course, these are the same people. Like the hypocrisy of the Democrats in the House.
Crazy.
They're,
incredible.
If you showcase something, if you showcase what's found in a public school library, then, you'll be shutted down. Like, we can't, there are children present. If you're a child seeking to access that content, and somebody's trying to stop you from accessing that content, you're banning books. The hypocrisy and the utter carelessness and callousness towards decency, because they're only caring about when they get caught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. It's sometimes it can be watch here in Canada to watch Parliament, because some of the back and forth can actually be kind of humorous, but for the most part, it's just it's an exercise in just in aggravation, because you're just these people are the worst. And Congress, you can have both. You can have really good clips like the one we saw earlier of that Democrat, basically incriminating the very people he's trying to protect. But then sometimes you have this kind of nonsense where oh dear Lord, I can't believe you're showing such smut and such obscene material in this hallowed halls of character and high society. It's clutching their pearls like crazy. So get on Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think she's fantastic. By the way, Stephen, I don't know if you heard another story I didn't actually have a chance to share, but did you hear that Lauren Boebert, what do you think of her?
Oh,
the representative from
Colorado. I like Lauren.
Colorado.
I know that her and MTG had a spat.
Yes, but I saw
I
an
haven't
article.
Heard a ton about it.
I saw an article that says that apparently Lauren Boebert might be hard pressed to win back her seat in the next election, which would suck because she has been one of the most amazing.
She's been really good.
She's been fantastic. So I'm super sad that if that's the case. I mean, she almost lost it this time.
Oh,
she had to get it was a runoff, right?
No, they had to do several recounts.
Yeah, the recounts basically confirmed her getting in, but it would suck if she doesn't get back in because she's probably one of the best members of the Freedom Caucus, along with Matt Gaetz. They're awesome. So that's our week, man. It's been good. You getting ready for a big weekend?
No, not this weekend. This weekend is basically just visiting my in-laws while they're camping. And then staying cool because it's going to be hot.
Mr. Party Animal over here.
Yeah,
All
but
right, people,
next week
it.
is important to note. So once a month, of course, just to let new viewers watch because we have 8 people watching on Kick right now. So if you're watching on Kick, just give us a quick hey. Tell us how you're doing. This is where we're going to finish the stream for tonight. But next week, we are going to have an open mic event. So I posted the link to our Discord, and I'll post it on Twitter, and I'll also post it on Facebook. And if you join on that link, next week we'll be doing the show on that Discord channel. And, of course, you can join via voice. You can join via video. Unlikely to be able to set it up via video because Discord and OBS do not get along. So, unfortunately, that's the case. So, most people will be joining via video, but we'll be discussing same sort of stuff that we'll be talking about now. If there's any new subjects for the day, then we'll be talking about that. But we're hoping to have probably 7 or 8 people join the stream. And, of course, if you know people that are on the opposite end of the aisle, if they're part of the left, if they're liberals, we invite them. Have a talk with us, and we can try and have a conversation across the aisle, and we can maybe find some common ground.
Hope so.
So that's going to be next week, Thursday, July 27th. Yes, 27th, at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. So mark your calendars and join our Discord, and we'll set everything up audio-wise, and hopefully we'll have some great conversations. And of course, it should be really interesting, because right now on Kick, this is our first time we've ever streamed on Kick, and we've had a fairly consistent 8 viewers for the past probably 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes.
Pretty awesome, man.
This has been something truly special. It's been funny. So
everyone
growth of this. Oh yeah, people have been fleeing like crazy from Twitch. We have 2 active viewers on Twitch. We have 8 active viewers on Kick. I would laugh so hard if we had 15 active viewers. Okay, shh, quiet. It's our first stream. We can pat our fingers a little bit. So we're okay with that for now. But, we want to have more and more people involved in the conversation, and we want to try and engage with as many people as possible. Because, Danny, why are we here?
I'm here because I'm bored and talk about politics and complain and whine like Tim Cast-IRL. That's why I'm here. I know. That was too open-ended a question. Way too open-ended.
Because we're trying not to be rude, Danny.
Oh, is that what that was? That was a setup for that?
It was a setup.
He wants me to say our catchphrase. And our catchphrase is, why be rude when you can be shrewd? Thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you for listening. Always great to just to talk about the regular goings on. The world is a crazy place, and you basically have to be on top of it because there's so many things going on, and if you don't pay attention, you're going to be shocked by the things that the powers that be are going to do upon us. So yeah, looking forward to next week. Can't wait to get a couple people. I'm thinking maybe we can do a little bit what they do on Timcast IRL.
Yeah,
where they open it up to questions where people can ask questions about, like, what do you think about this, or or whatever, all that. I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, we'll try it. We're gonna try and involve our guests as much as possible. So
absolutely. And what time we're gonna start, Stephen?
We're gonna start at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, but of course, if you're joining the audio conversation, and maybe we can potentially try and do some of it via video, then we'll be aiming to start for people to be joining the audio at about 7:30, 7:45.
Sounds good, man.
So until then, we will see you on Tuesday for our regularly scheduled Tuesday News Day. Until then, everybody have a great weekend, and as always, God bless.
Good night, buddy.